Under descriptive statistics we have measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion. Almost all data exhibit two important characteristics. One is a tendency to a central value or the pivotal value, and that is what we refer to as central tendency. The data has got the tendency to be around or congregate around a central value, and that is what we call it as measure of central tendency. So much so, the same data or the data elements in the data set has a expression, or they are also spread around the central value. This is an inherent property of it. Not all data congregate or exactly the central value. They are spread. They are spread around, or they are spreaded around the central value, and that is what is dispersion, and this is called measure of dispersion. Under measure of central tendency, we have quite a few parameters: mean, median, and mode, and few more are there. But most importantly, mean, median, and mode are very, very useful. Okay, so much so, under measure of dispersion, you have range, you have mean deviation, you have mean absolute deviation, you have root mean square deviation or standard deviation. Under dispersion, of all the parameters, the standard deviation or the root mean square deviation is a very important parameter. So jointly, in a data set, a measure of central tendency and a measure of dispersion, that is mean and the standard deviation, plays a very important role in understanding more about the data set. We will now take measure of central tendency and go a little more and try to understand what are all these three measures, and by way of few examples we will explain how we can obtain this. Mean is a simple average or average of the data set. Okay, so what you really do is that you add up all the data variables and divide by the total number of data points, you get the mean. Median is a middle value when the data is organized in a arranging order or a descending order, ascending order or a descending order. Okay, so when the middle point is known, you know on the lower side the same number of data is there, and the higher side is also the same number of data is there. Mode refers to most frequently occurring data element in the data set. Most of the data can be represented by a bell curve. Now, if you look at this bell curve, the x-axis is the variable or the data points or the data values. You will see some green dots around the central value or the central line, and this is what we say, some data elements, they congregate around the central value. Okay, and that is what we call as a tendency towards a central value. Okay, so much so, you will also see other data points which are also on the curve, which are clearly a spread from the central line or the central value, and typically this is what we say a deviation or dispersion. So these two are inherent characteristics of most of the data. We'll take a couple of examples and then go about explaining all these things. This is an example. A sprinter records his 100-meter dash over 7 trials. So we have represented the trials here and the time taken. In the first trial, he has taken 11 seconds to complete. In the second trial also 11 seconds. Third trial 15 seconds. Fourth trial 14 seconds. Fifth trial he has really ran fast and completed in 10 seconds. And sixth is 11, and again seventh is 12 seconds. So he has been completing the 100-meter dash or several trials around these time taken. option or time taken situations. So to arrive at the mean, as I told you, add them up and we get 84 and divided by 7 you will get 12. So 12 is the average speed of this sprinter. Okay, so what we can understand here is that this average or most likely speed or most of the time is likely to complete in 12 seconds. The data that is arranged in an ascending order, you will observe the fourth value is 11 and typically that is median, and 11 is occurring 3 times, so that is the mode. So we are able to hear in this example the mean, median and mode. Mean is the average of the data and median is the middlemost value when arranged in order, and mode is the most frequently occurring data element. We will take some more examples by going through some real life scenarios, because you will find that you need to do a deeper study on these parameters. It is not that always mean alone is the most important or measure of central tendency. It is also median and mode. In fact, you will find a lot of applications of mode being a very useful central tendency measure. Let us take 2 examples. I have taken an example of the cost of a 2-bedroom flat. Okay, in this small data set you find that the cost obtained by talking to flat builders or flat owners or on website, say it's 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs and 120 lakhs. By going through a simple mean, what happens is that if you look at the data, the average of this comes to 240 over 4, which is 60 lakhs. Okay, now, and that is what is the mean, right? But if you look at the data, you see that out of the 4 data points, 3 are close to 30, 40 and 50, and perhaps if you really look at it, the median is here, which is 45 lakhs. What you say is that this 30 and 120 are the outlier values. So the median does not give importance to outlier values, rather it's a middlemost value that gives 45 lakhs, which seems to be reasonable out of this data set. On the contrary, if you simply go by mean, it shows 60 lakhs because you have added all the elements, out of which one data point is pretty high. So that is where you have to understand that at some point of time you may have to leave the outlier values. This is an outlier value, so much so this is an outlier value in this data set, so that you will be in a position to make a proper judgment. As a matter of fact, median does not bother about outlier values. On the contrary, mean does bother about it. So that is the essential difference between, and you understand how mean can be deceptive in this case. Let us take the example of a mode, and it is a very, very important aspects which one can understand about it. See, normally what happens is that the garment manufacturers, they don't manufacture different sizes. So in order to optimize his cost, what he will do is that with the minimum settings, he will try to produce more. People have different sizes, say with their shoulder width from 38 centimeters to 40 to 44, 46 and so on and so forth. So similarly neck size and hip size. So it is impracticable for the garment manufacturer to manufacture all the sizes. So what he normally does is that he standardizes on 4 different groups: small, medium, large and extra large, and manufacture with some standard width, say 38 or 40 or 42 or 44, like that. So once he manufactures and then he delivers to the shop, you go and then just go and see and check it up whether that particular size fits you. If it fits, you buy it. So that is the way both meets the end. So it is more important to understand that mode can play a very great role, and especially the medium and large size are manufactured in large quantity because it fits for most of the people. So that's the way you understand with real life examples. So with this, we have come to the end of the session. We will once again meet in the next session. Thank you.